So my name's Lachlan and I'm the head of performance for the Renegades Rocket League team.
Gets it across to Kami. Doesn't get better than that from CJ.
Yeah, so my involvement with esports began probably about, I'd say 10 to 12 years ago, back in the early cyber gamer days. That competitiveness really got me into the StarCraft 2 scene. So in that scene, I actually got to Masters, and with that Masters confidence, I felt like really getting into that coaching scene. I guess, doing my sport and exercise science, I really wanted to connect that through esports, and so that's where we are today. My connection with the team so far has been pretty good. Since day one, I've pretty much gone thrown into the deep end, going straight into the regional event one. Being thrown into the deep end allowed me to really get on board really fast and build that rapport, build that motivation, and build that synergy with the team. And fast forward to, I guess, regional event two, taking the win there, that really was it was a joy in regards to, being able to see how much progress we've made between 1 to 2. Most often than not, that early week entry period, that warm-up period when you get to know the players is, most important. The most important thing, first and foremost, is, when I got on board with the boys, I really wanted to understand each individual mindset towards the game. I wanted to really understand their underlying motivation towards playing and how they hold themselves in the game and outside of the game. And once I fully understood that, that allowed me to really take control and really engage them in a one-on-one setting. And that really allowed me to really understand how these guys work and what really enables them to calm down, what enables them to de-stress, and what enables them to not feel the pressure of going into a big competition. Being on board with the Renegades now is definitely an experience that I didn't imagine would be so good. Team culture, I think, is one of the biggest assets in regards to a successful organisation, and definitely in regards to the Renegades. From management to staff to players, everyone's been welcoming and accustomed to myself and what I bring to the scene. I'd say that the biggest challenge so far is already behind me. I'd say that, again, that entry warm-up period where you get to know the players, where you get to understand their underlying motivation towards the game, and how they feel about external performance. A lot of players within the industry have the same mindset that I got to this level where I am today because of what I've already done, so why would I change? And I think that mindset can sometimes hold a lot of players back. So, being able to be on with these guys, being able to have that mindset has definitely allowed me to really, take my performance coaching to the next level. The current competitive state is definitely an interesting one. I really like the fact that a lot of players are, readily accessible. We can message a team in 10-15 minutes. We've already got 3 hours of scrims lined up. So I think that activeness is important for a scene, especially one that's going to be continued developing and developing. It's definitely interesting to see everything from an external perspective.
Kami and CJ, I think we need to see them step up today.
I think criticism is one of the things that in esports, it's thrown around and it's expected almost. So I think having that underlying mindset that criticism is going to come. Definitely CJ and Kami are pretty unique characters in regards to they like to, I guess, say the first thing that comes to mind. I respect Thieves in regards to he likes to hold back and just think to himself sometimes. But I think criticism is one of those things that we all just accept and we say, this has happened, let's put that behind us now and let's just focus on what's to come next in regards to the major or in regards to the next game we're playing. One of the biggest things we look at is something like exercise. Obviously exercise has such a major impact upon our performance, not only for physical sports, but also for esports as well. Being a strength and conditioning coach as well, this has enabled me to, build more rapport with the players, connect with them on a deeper level to really understand what's important for them. And, for some of these players, exercise is crucial. And what that looks like is essentially, designing a one-on-one program with some of these guys, just being on live chat, just going through the exercises with them one-on-one. Leading up to the Spring Event 2, one of the things that I really wanted to test with the players is this idea of polysensory imagery. And what that is essentially you take a sit back and you close your eyes and you think of 3 different senses. And one of the things I got the players to think about is tactile. So I got them to close their eyes and I got them to imagine holding their control, imagine driving around the field. And then I got them to, add on to that. So I got them to think about auditory. So I got them to imagine the sound of driving around the field, imagine scoring a goal, the explosion. And then I combined that with visual. So then I combined all the elements and imagine them driving around the field, doing all these things. This was really powerful, especially in those situations where we didn't get the warm-up scrim. They can go into the game with that mindset that they've already had a warm-up, even though they actually haven't physically played. I think my current goals remain the same when I joined the team. It was to ensure that I'm really getting on board and addressing each player's underlying mindset towards the game. The first big event that I was really a part of the team was the Spring Regional Event 2, which we ended up taking out the win in that. So that really allowed us to take reins and really dial in our game, really understand where we're coming from and what we do best. So I think my goal personally is to ensure that over the next few weeks leading up to the major, that we're really dialing in, we're really jumping on board and addressing those small individualized goals that represent and mean something for each player. So what that looks like is essentially jumping on board in a one-on-one, for example, and figuring out a couple of goals that we can really assess and really start to measure. So when we go to the day before the major, we can take a step back, we can look back and we can say, we did these things, we put in the work, we stuck to our sleep schedules, we did some exercise, we've hydrated throughout this time, we've put in the work, we've been doing some testing, and let's just take the reins and take the W.